Welcome to ADHD Friendly. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I know we're a couple of weeks in, but it's still very sparkly to be in a new year. And it's ADHD Friendly, where we are looking for ways to create more ease in your everyday life so that you're overcoming those challenges before they get in your way. This is episode 169, and I am going to start, as I always do, with a quick celebration about my office. Becca's already seen a little bit of my celebration. I then am going to share a tip about how to keep things in sight in mind to support yourself in 2025. And then the main topic for today is supporting your future self. So I'm just going to give you some tips about capturing holiday wins and misses while they're really fresh in your brain to support your future self next year. And then, of course, I'll wrap up with my book of the week, which was a good one. All right, let's start as we do with my celebration. So I did the beginning of an office reset. Not done, but I've started. So my winter semester goal. So if you are interested in learning more about the winter semester, visit my website, ADHD Friendly. I am rolling out a new course. It's a year-long course, and it's divided into 4 semesters. So we are currently in the first semester of this course, and it's the winter semester where we are focused on annual planning. And participants are encouraged to set a winter semester goal. My goal is to clean, declutter, and organize my office. It has become an absolute energy drain with how much stuff is just piling up. I was so busy last year and creating things last year, which was very energizing in itself, but it created a lot of aftermath of piles of things that I just kept stacking because I didn't have time to put them. So I realized it's just kind of slowly happened, but this past 6 months really tacked on to what was already starting to unravel. And so I made it my winter semester goal to kind of reset the whole office. But I started with my annual planning by just cleaning off my desk. It needed to be done. I mean, I cleared off everything. I dusted the whole thing. Which areas I was not dusting, and I was dusting because I wasn't taking everything off. I was just kind of like, just quick little Swiffer duster. Yeah. Those little Swiffers you stick in between, but oh my gosh. And I thought it would take an hour. So I set my timer. I cleaned off my desk and I cleaned out my supply cabinet right behind my desk. Ooh. It's just a little 2-door cabinet with 2 shelves. How long do you think that took? I gave myself an hour.
I'm saying at least double that. So I'm going to go with 2 hours.
5 hours.
5 hours.
5 hours. And when I say 5 hours, I do not mean I did a little bit. I went somewhere and did some laundry. I mean, it took me 5 hours to get everything cleared off. And I was very intentional about, believe it or not, even though there's still a lot of stuff on my desk, I was very intentional about what came back onto my desk. And I found inside my supply cabinet, and you guys remember, because I've shared, if you're a regular follower and viewer of this podcast, you know I share what I purchase each week. I purchased a new huge box of paper clips last year, found 11 boxes in my cabinet.
11?
Yep. I just purchased brand new 3x3 Post-it notes.
Yeah.
I found 2 packages, not 2 things, 2 packages of like 6 or 8 in each. I found, remember my new Guard Your ID roller?
Yeah.
Found a brand new one of those in there that had never been opened.
Well, this was
I
good.
found a package of brand new pens. All of these I had reordered because I didn't know I had them.
Right.
And what I realized was I have a little desk treadmill that you'll notice it's on the other side of my desk now. It prevented me from opening the cabinet doors fully. So I was always just opening them like a third of the way and reaching in. Well, I had so much resistance to going in there and really fishing around.
Yeah.
And I thought things were really organized so I could find them, that apparently I just was throwing things in there over the last year or so. So now I can open the cabinet fully, and I organized everything. I just was laughing when I found the paper clips. That was about it, because I now have more paper clips than anybody, I think, even than like IBM or like Google could use.
Another paper clip.
No. And I go through a decent number of paper clips because I like my paper.
Yeah.
So all right. So that's my win, that I took the time. It is still giving paying dividends.
Yeah.
I love sitting at my desk. I've been very productive in the last week since I cleaned out just the desk area, and it's started some momentum to get into the rest of my office over the course of the first 3 months of this year, the winter semester. Again, if you are interested in support to help you move forward on your intentions, that's what my annual course, I'm calling it ADHD-U. So it's all about kind of like ADHD University, learn about your brain, learn about your strengths, learn about what works for you, and put systems in place that will help you move forward with structured sessions that are live that help you to implement what you're planning. Check it out, ADHD-Friendly.com. Would love to have you join me on my journey as we work together to make 2025 your best year yet. All right. Now, what I purchased this week. Again, what I always update, and I can tell you I purchased nothing because I had so much kind of stuff fatigue from the holidays. And when I cleaned up my office, I was like, oh my gosh, I have like, it's really helping me to recognize the stuff is creating this feeling of tightness, and I just want I want less stuff. So I didn't purchase anything.
Amazing.
I know, it is amazing. It is. I don't know how long that feeling will last, but right now that's where I'm at. All right, now for my ADHD friendly tip for this week, and that is to make things what I call ISIM, ISIM, in sight, in mind. With ADHD brains, things are so often out of sight, out of mind, meaning just like my cabinet not being able to open very clearly, if I can't see it, it does not exist. So I know I have to make things in sight, in mind, but there's also a limit to how much real estate we have visually to put things up before it becomes wallpaper, before it's just, oh my gosh, I have so much insight, it's now stressing me out. So how can you support yourself if your brain is also very out of sight, out of mind, to be more mindfully using ISIM, insight in mind, to support yourself? So I just have a few examples of where you might want to explore either cleaning off, so it's more of a blank slate, and prioritizing what you put on there, or using this area if you haven't tapped into it yet, if it would help to support your brain.
Yeah.
The first is the fridge. So
the fridge.
And I'm not talking about the outside of the fridge necessarily. I'm talking about the inside of the fridge. And this is something I noticed even in the last few weeks since the holidays. Oh my gosh, you put something in a container and put it in the fridge where I can't see it.
Forget it.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I end up throwing it away weeks later because I forgot it was in there.
Totally.
Or I don't remember when I put it in there. So I don't trust that I can eat it.
Yeah.
The crisper drawer, I put fruit. I forget, it's out of mind. I close the drawer. I like cold fruit, except bananas. But if I put it in the refrigerator, it more often gets thrown out.
Yeah, it's gonna go bad.
So keep it in sight wherever you can. If you can put it in a bowl, if you can leave it, with a clear container, label the container, label the drawer with what's in it, put a little Post-it in there to remind you that will stick when it's closed. When you open it up and you've got the little Post-it that says what's in there. I always like when I'm grocery shopping and I have meals in there, I write them on a Post-it and I do stick that on the refrigerator so I remember what I have that I can eat. But think about what would you do to make your fridge a little bit more insight in mind so that you're throwing away less and able to eat the things that you're spent the money on to be able to have. All right, the other area is clothes. So if putting things in a drawer and closing it works for you, that's awesome. Okay, I shared how I buy PJs for my family every year.
Yes.
When I got my PJs out this year, I realized like that needs to stop. That's one of the things I'm going to be tweaking.
Too many PJs?
I have so many PJs, but I don't love most of them. And even the PJs I bought this year that I was so excited about, they don't have pockets in the pants. I won't wear them without pockets in the pants. Exactly. And these were like a splurge PJ. Like I was like, okay,
Fancy
this is going to
PJs.
be, well, fancy for me. Guys, I've learned over the years, splurge is a relative term. What is a splurge to me might be like cheap to you and you wouldn't even buy these. So splurge to me was my LL Bean PJs.
I think those are a splurge.
They're a splurge. And I literally have one pair of LL Bean PJs that I love, but they're like the button down classic PJs. And I don't often want to wear, they're super warm. So they're only for like this time of year. There's a couple of, but you do need them.
Yeah.
But I wanted a pullover, like Henley kind of shirt,
cute. Yeah.
which is what I bought with the pants, but the pants have no pockets. And I'm like, I lose things if I don't have pockets. I have to have a pocket. So out of sight, out of mind. But anyway, I go back to the drawers. They're shoved in there so tightly, I'm not going to go in there and get them out. I
Yeah.
will always just wear whatever's coming through the wash
Totally.
over and
yeah.
over and over again. So think about what's going to help you to see what you have so that you can use it. Maybe it's getting some clear drawers that
Yeah.
you can put into your closet or next to your dresser that you can see into more easily. Maybe, you know, if you're thinking about laundry, not having a lid on top of your hamper so you can see when laundry needs to be done.
Oh, that's good.
Just thinking about what will help you to keep it in mind. If you do have drawers and that's just how it needs to be, label the drawers so that you remember what's in each one and make it easier to find it and go into it to get it. Cause you're like, I don't have to open 3 doors to remember that they're in this drawer. And then home base. We've talked about this in previous episodes. Have one place to keep your keys, your wallet, your phone charging, AirPods, whatever it is, your bills. Have one place where everything goes so that that's the spot and you're not going, where is that? Did I put it here? Did I put it here? Did I put it here? Have one home for your things to make it easy to find it. Keep them in sight. I started, I told you, the paper things that came in the mail for my husband were driving me crazy because he kept stacking them on the end of the kitchen table.
Yes.
And so I found a photo box that's attractive to go on a shelf in the kitchen. And that's not working because it's out of sight, out of mind. He's not used to going in there to look at it. And it was so funny because we had this whole AAA thing where one of the car batteries died over the holidays and he couldn't find the new AAA card. I'm like, I gave it to you. I gave it to you. Well, a week later, it was in the box. We found it in the box. And I was like, out of sight, out of mind. It's a real thing. So keep in mind, if you are establishing new homes, like a new home base, and you want it kind of streamlined and not visible, what prompts when you need to remember that that's where you put it. Because if you put it somewhere and you're not used to going there, it can totally fall off your radar. And the last thing could be thinking about analog clocks. If you lose time on games, on your computer, on getting ready in the morning, having analog clocks in very specific places can support you by keeping time, insight, and in mind so that you can see the passage of time with more ease. You don't have to process, you know, the digital time and figure out, okay, how many more minutes do I have and hold that in your working memory. You can just look at the clock and see and then calculate from there. So that's just a few examples. I invite you to notice where you could use a little more ISM in your life to support you. My other really quick example as we're wrapping up is if you like keep shoes in the shoe box. I've seen people do this on like those design shows or the home organization shows. I found a brand new pair of shoes in a box in my closet that I forgot I had because they're in a box. And
why would you go in the box?
I assumed it was a box for me to use to wrap something in if I needed a box. Yeah. So
shoes.
I am literally insight in mind. So just notice what's working for you and what might help you if you had a little bit more visible. All right, now for this week's topic. The holidays have just ended and it's more clear now what worked and what didn't than it will be tomorrow or next week, next month, but certainly by the time the next holiday season rolls around. So while it's freshly visible in the rearview mirror, right? I invite you to take 10 minutes, set a timer. This does not need to be a time suck. Limit the amount of time that you spend on this. Just give yourself a 10-minute space of time to do a brain dump. Notice what worked, your wins, and notice your misses. So I wrote down really quickly as just part of my exercise of doing this. I set a 10-minute timer. So for the wins, we do it every year. We decorate cookies and gingerbread houses. But this year, my daughter and her boyfriend and my son and his girlfriend and my 2 other kids all sat at the table, and in pairs of 2, they decorated gingerbread houses and sugar cookies together. And it brought me so much joy watching them all talking and getting along, and their respective, the 2 that had a boyfriend and a girlfriend with them, getting along with everybody. It was just, it warmed my heart. And it was one of the highlights of my holidays. I just loved it so much. The other was we drove a different route. We always drive on Christmas Eve and look at holiday decorations. Well, we drove into one of the nearby little downtowns that I had been driving around during the day, one day earlier in the week, and saw that there was a road with a theme to it with these inflatables. And I'm not usually a fan of inflatables for decoration, just personally.
Yeah.
But every other house had this giant inflatable, like the same Christmas tree with presents in front of it. And I was like, and it was like a downtown little town. So all the houses were really close together. And it was so cute that I was like, oh, I want to show you guys this. Well, there was the street with the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
The next street over was Santa's. And they all had Santa Clauses. The next street over was snowmen. I kid you not. And the next street over was the Grinch.
And they all did it together.
All down the street, not every house, but I would say at least half, if not more than half of the people in the street. I don't know how long this is going on. I just discovered it. We had so much fun driving around just this one little area that it was different. We weren't wasting time like, oh, should we try this neighborhood? It was and everybody just loved it. So that was a huge win. So I want to remember that because it's not new and not something I'm likely to remember a year from now, even though my brain right now is like, oh my gosh, Patty, there's no way you'll forget that. Yeah, I will. And then the last thing was I got my daughter's boyfriend a personalized stocking. All of my kids have had stockings with their names on them that I got from like JCPenney 20 years ago, maybe 18 years ago when my youngest was little.
Yeah.
And they just, for me, were like the thing I always wanted to make. And it's funny because once I learned how to knit, people were like, oh, you can knit your own stockings. I'm like, no, I already have these. Like, why would I go through the trouble of knitting them? They're not going to be better than these. I love these. These are our tradition. Well, my daughter brought her boyfriend for Christmas this year for the first time we've ever had a family member for my kids come and spend the holidays with us. And I want him to feel like, because he was away from his family. Yeah. So I got him a stocking that I had embroidered with his name. And he was so moved by that it really it touched me how much he appreciated it. And I just had this really strong sense of accomplishment that I took the time to think of that and actually order it. Because I always say I have great intentions. I struggle to follow through. But that was one thing I prioritized. And I really felt good about having done that. So those were my wins. And then again, I just quickly wrote these down. And there might be lots of other ones, but these were 3 that really had a strong impression on me. So I was like, you know what, there could be others, but I'm going to hold on to these. And then the misses were also kind of important to remember.
Ooh, okay.
The one was we didn't do a great job of planning out the meals we were going to eat every day throughout the week.
Sure.
And it created stress around thinking every day. I felt like we had to think about and plan and decide instead of just knowing what we were going to do. And I just hated it. So
especially breakfast and lunch, like
it was such and having so many people in the house, it was not fun. So I wrote that down that I want to have a plan next year to have more than we need. So there's just options every day. We did our Chinese restaurant meal Christmas night where my husband did call and they said reservations weren't needed, but he didn't clarify would they take a reservation. So we got there when they opened at 4 thinking we are super early.
We'll be good. But
we already had a 45-minute wait at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a crap show.
Oh no.
It was like so busy. We didn't get the really cool round table with the spinning thing in the center, which I was really, really excited about.
The fun table.
Yeah. And the service was terrible, which I felt badly for them because they were sitting tables. They should have made us wait longer. Like there was no way they can keep up with the number of people that were sitting in their sections. So it wasn't their fault. It was just frustrating to get there and have to wait so long. And it was just not, especially when we went through the trouble of calling, they could have said, well, you can make a reservation.
You probably should.
Yeah, no. So that was frustrating. And we couldn't even get water. That was like the funny thing, like my daughter's boyfriend, it was much more bold than the Blindermans are, got up and like went over to the bar and like came back with a whole pitcher, poured everybody's water, went back and got it filled up again. And I was
Smart
just like,
man.
oh, I love you. Like, that's amazing. So yeah, that was a miss. And then I need to tweak my budgeting. I definitely lost the thread of it at times.
Yeah.
And the holiday PJs were something I'm definitely nixing. Next year, less is more.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I needed that. So I'm going to be adjusting what I'm spending money on, remembering what really felt like was worthwhile and what didn't while it's fresh. So those were just my examples. I invite you to capture your wins so you can bring them forward if you want to, and capture the misses and decide while your brain is in that nice, calm, relaxed state, what would you change to navigate that differently next year if it were to come up again. So that's my strategy that I wanted to share for this week while it was fresh in my mind. All right, so now for the book of the week.
Woohoo!
It was not a very long book. It was actually a very quick read called Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan.
Oh, I love
Yeah, isn't it? It was
so
very sweet. It was an
cute.
unexpected Christmas read. I read this right up before Christmas,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was a Christmas book that I had no idea
Yeah.
when I picked it up that I was going to be reading a Christmas book going right up until Christmas Eve. It ends on Christmas Eve, and I was or Christmas morning, and I was completely surprised because I had no idea.
that.
So here's a little description. It is 1985 in a small Irish town. During the weeks leading up to Christmas, Bill Furlong, they call him Furlong the whole book. I had
Oh,
such a
not
hard time
Bill.
with that. No, I didn't even learn his name was William or Bill until like halfway through the book. He's a coal merchant and a family man, and he's facing his busiest season. Early one morning, while he's delivering an order to the local convent, Bill makes a discovery which forces him to confront both the past and the complicit silences of a town controlled by the church.
Oh.
So it takes place in the 80s in Ireland, but apparently it's a new movie that was made by Cillian Murphy. Is that his name? Yeah. So I haven't seen the movie yet, but I enjoyed the book. It was very short, and it was just like a sweet little story.
Oh, that's
But
nice. Now you watch the movie.
yeah, I do want to watch the movie. But I have a quote from that book. So if that story interests you, check it out. Again, a quick read. Or if you want to hold it for the holidays to read next Christmas, that could be something. But the character named Furlong, the main character, Bill, said this. This is my quote for this week. What would life be like, he wondered, if they were given time to think and reflect over things? Because he's so busy, he doesn't have time to think, to make decisions. They just kind of like go through life one thing at a time, and then they're so tired they drop into bed. And so, but I thought that was so apropos because that's what my topic was this week, of thinking, taking time. What would life be like if you took 10 minutes just to think about what really worked well over this holiday season and what didn't go the way that you were hoping, and what could you change to make it go better next time? So that's it for this episode 169. I wish you an ADHD friendly rest of your day and week, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, tally ho.